What is up? And for the first time of many, welcome to Ask DLF. I'm your host here at Calvin and Hobby, and I'm joined by the amazing, incomparable Tyler at DLF_Carp. Tyler, I'm excited to have you here. We are doing something brand new. It's a show we've talked about for a while. Both of us are super pumped about it. And so I think the best place to start is for us to kind of introduce each other a little, and then let's tell everybody what we're doing here. So everybody, should know who you are, but just in case somebody many years from now, when this show goes down as the greatest fantasy football show of all time, and they're looking back for the first one, introduce yourself and tell them who you are and what you're doing.
Hey, so I'm Tyler. Everyone does know me, but yeah, I write for DLF. I have my own podcast, the Dynasty Duo. I'm doing this show now. Ask DLF. Welcome to our new show. This is going to be very exciting. And yeah, I'm on Twitter, and I try to interact with people as much as I can. I made a promise that if I hit 7,000 followers, I would deliver a solo YouTube show. If DLF would like to upload that show, that would be very nice. This is a surprise. Cal didn't know about that.
We might can work that out. We might be able to figure that out.
I think that could be worked out. But if not, I'll upload it on my own. So I will thank you to the people for following me and just supporting me throughout all of this. And I am happy to continue to be here.
Well, congrats on 7,000. And yeah, so what we're going to do here is, there really just began to be, a lot of interest in an interactive show where we can talk about the news events. So we'll do a little bit of that. We've got some fun games that we'll do. I don't know that we'll do them today, but we're definitely going to do them at some point. Including your little party trick that you like to pull where you can guess someone's age. We may even do like 2 minutes of that at the end of the show. You'll have to stay tuned, and we'll see how that goes. But a lot of people already in here in the chat. So the way this is going to work is we already took a bunch of questions from Twitter. Like, we've got a bunch, and we're going to talk about those, but we're also going to, between that, we're going to interact with you right here, the viewer. If you're watching this, then you can put any kind of question that you've got in the chat, and we will do our best to get to it and answer. I know I speak for Tyler when I say our goal tonight is just to answer as many questions as we can and help as many people as possible. So that's the point of the show.
It's not just tonight, right? I mean, this is going to be every week. Every week from now until week 18. Week 18. From now until week 18, you will get this show. It's going to be Tuesday. There's a reason it's on Tuesday, because during the season, Tuesday is obviously the day you want to have your questions before waivers run and all that. So, yeah, I mean, we're gonna continue this show into the season. We're just starting it now, just because we wanted to start it now. But yeah. So this is going to be a permanent thing. So if you don't get question answered this week, we'll do it again next week, and the week after, and the week after that. So don't worry, you'll have plenty of opportunities to ask us questions. This is a permanent thing.
That's absolutely right. I also happen to write not as prolifically as Tyler, but for DLF. So I have got an article coming out. It's on the AFC East, and I'm excited about that one. I'll let you guys know when that drops. But yeah, follow me as well, and follow the at DLF at DL Football on Twitter, because that is the place where you're going to be able to ask a lot of the questions. You can ask them to Tyler. You can ask them to me. You can put them in the comment section here. You can go to the forums. We've got a lot of ways that you guys can get those questions in. And yeah, we are excited.
You can always ask them during the show too.
You can ask them during the show. And we'll start. True North Nate, what's up, dude? Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate everybody that's here. Evan, congratulate you here,
you, Evan,
on the 7,000. And then a very interesting question for us has to do with the news today that somebody didn't show up to a voluntary team activity, Mr. Aaron Rodgers. So Dylan says, hey guys, what's up, Dylan? What are we doing with Jordan Love in Superflex Dynasty Leagues? Tyler, what say you?
You're holding on to him, and then when Aaron Rodgers is traded, then you're getting rid of him. That's what you're doing with Jordan Love. Jordan Love is not very good, but he'll hold value the second Aaron Rodgers is traded. So I would hold on to him right now. Then when Aaron Rodgers is traded, sell him for whatever you can get at that point. But we haven't gotten to that point yet. So it's hard to say what the market's going to do at that stage. But yeah, that's my advice.
Very good. Questions are flooding in. If you're listening to this, if you're one of the new viewers that just popped up, a lot of people here. Get in the chat. Let's talk. And let's get into a couple of the news items from today. It just dropped. Jeff Wilson is now out 4 to 6 months. How much of an effect? It's going to have some effect on the 49ers backfield, but how much of an effect is it going to have?
I think it's going to be significant. I think it's going to be significant. I think that what this means is that those people who are saying that Raheem Mostert's going to get cut, I think those people, I thought they were wrong anyway. And now I think that that's not a possibility. They're not going to get rid of the 2 players that they had that carried the ball at all last year. That would leave them with just a bunch of question marks if they did that. So Raheem Mostert is going to be on this roster. It opens up the door, though, for Elijah Mitchell. It opens the door for Elijah Mitchell behind Raheem Mostert and Trey Sermon. So I like Elijah Mitchell much more as a sleeper now. Getting rid of Jeff Wilson doesn't really change anything much, really, for me, for Trey Sermon or for Raheem. Well, maybe a little bit for Raheem Mostert, but mostly for Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell gained a lot of value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe even Wayne Gallman. Is there any chance that Wayne Gallman, the veteran, has a chance to work himself into a role there? No,
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Awesome. Evan comes back. He's the one that congratulated you, so we got to get his question in here. What rookie will fall in ADP the most from their current ADP right now versus when the season starts, and why is it Michael Carter?
Oh, it is Michael Carter. That was going to be my answer. Yes, Michael Carter. When people realize that he's not the clear workhorse starter, then he's going to fall in ADP from now until when the season starts. That's exactly right. That would have been my answer. Michael Carter, 100%. It's actually a pretty easy question.
So what's the reaction to that then? Does that mean like we're going to see a lot of Tevin Coleman, or what do you expect from that Jets backfield?
No. So anyone listening to this show, if you've never listened to me before, there's this thing that I always say. There's this thing I don't like. It's called failure. Failure. Let's talk about Tevin Coleman. Everyone who went to San Francisco, everyone who played in the Kyle Shanahan offense, everyone else succeeded. But who failed? Tevin Coleman, failure. 2 years of failure. And then in Atlanta, never really broke out what we wanted. 4 years of what I would call failure. So 6 years combined of failure. So I'm not interested in 6 years of failure. So we're not going to see a lot of Tevin Coleman. It's more LaMichael Pirine that I'm concerned about. Potentially a little bit. I would put, I think I've mentioned this many times, but I would suggest putting Ty Johnson on the back of your dynasty rosters. The Jets went out of their way to re-sign him this offseason. And, I think he's significantly better than Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman sucks. So, just something to consider. I just don't see why Michael Carter is guaranteed to be a workhorse starter. And I think you're going to start hearing buzz like you get a report in July. Ty Johnson taking reps with the 1s. Michael Carter taking reps with the 3s. And you're going to hear stuff like that, and then his value is going to go down. So I would be very careful with Michael Carter.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So yeah, those two, Ty Johnson and Michael Pirine, those guys that were on the roster last year, it's Ty Johnson. I actually have always thought had some talent. Like when he touches the ball, I actually like what I see. So I love that you said to stash him on your bench right now, back into your squad. You're not paying a lot for Ty Johnson. Why not? If you got a roster spot, you could do a lot worse than having him there.
And you can go throw Tevin Coleman in an incinerator. That's where he belongs. That's where I would put him. He's worthless.
Love it. Philip chimes in. He is the one that sold George Kittle and Michael Thomas for Barkley and Chark, and then we destroyed him for this.
Wait, when did I do that? I don't remember doing that. I guess I destroy a lot of people. This is not very memorable that I destroyed someone, but was I really that harsh on that?
We were pretty harsh about the trade because 1.5 point tight end premium. Everything else was like half a point, so it's like 3 times as good for a tight end to get
3 times. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So super flex.
I was harsh, I think, justifiably then.
Yeah. So he says he redeemed himself. He flipped Barkley and Chark for Kelsey and Brady. So yeah, you did, Philip. I think you did. No?
Is that redeeming himself, you think? I don't know. I essentially look at what he's done. He's traded Kittle and Thomas for Kelsey and Brady. How does that sound? How does that sound? How does that sound? How does that sound as a trade? That sounds awful. Awful. So yeah, I'm not in. I don't know. I don't buy 44-year-old players. So I'm sorry. I don't think you redeemed yourself. Sorry.
You didn't make things. I don't think it made things worse.
No, I don't think you made things much worse.
Yeah.
I'm not very high on Chark. So, but I'd still rather have Barkley and Chark. I mean, to me, Chark in a super flex, Chark and Brady are about equal. So, and I'd rather have Barkley than Kelsey. So you didn't redeem yourself. And that's one thing we're going to learn on this show. This show is not what this show is not going to be, is me just telling you, oh, you did great. You did great. I support you. Good job. That's not what you're going to get here. You're going to get me being honest. If I thought your trade sucked, I'm going to tell you it sucked. Like that's just how it's going to be. It's not helpful if I just tell you everything you did was great if I don't think that. Why do you want me? You don't want me to do that. So I'm sorry, you didn't redeem yourself. And hopefully ask us before you do the trade next time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look, our ads are right there on the screen. Just hit us up, tag us. We'll be more than happy to answer.
Just at me, you're much more likely to get a response than if you at me and 20 other people. You'll get a response from someone, but it probably won't be from me.
Yeah, you could if you at me too, you'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I get added a lot. So adding me is a good way to get my attention.
Chris chimes in, 14 team Superflex at pick 102, Justin Fields or Trey Lance. I know where you're going with this.
Can't go wrong, really. They're almost identical to me. I would go Fields, but I don't think this is not something I'm super passionate about. I don't think you can make a wrong decision here.
I love, Chris at Dynasty League Football. So at DL Football,
at DL Football, yeah.
But a really good thing that I wanted to mention here when I saw this is make sure to go check out dynastyleaguefootball.com, because that is where you're going to find a lot of Tyler's work. That's where you'll find my work when I have articles that go up there, and you're going to find great tools, ADP tools, trade finders, things like that, like really, really good products that are going to help you be better Dynasty football players. So make sure you go check that out. Philip comes back, 0.5. Yeah.
All right.
Done. Will Mims break out in 2021? I have some thoughts on this. Tell me what you think. Denzel Mims in 2021. And then I'm going to try and sell you on it because I don't think you buy it.
Nope. No. He's the third most talented receiver on that team. So no, I don't think so. I didn't like Denzel Mims before. I don't like him now. Clearly, they weren't very happy with him because they went out and signed one of the few wide receivers. There weren't that many wide receivers on the free agent market. There weren't a zillion to choose from. And they chose to sign one of the most expensive in Corey Davis. And then they spent a higher pick on Elijah Moore than what Denzel Mims cost. So I don't think so. I have zero interest in Denzel Mims. I want him off my team. I strongly dislike him. He's actually one of my least favorite players. So no interest in Denzel Mims at all. None. So
Don and Evan also chimes in here. Mims has a lot of competition in 2021. I think that's true. But let me just say this too. One, go check out the video that me and Tyler did on the AFC East. That's up on YouTube now. Like we stayed up and recorded till like, I don't know, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. something. Recording every team and every rookie that was drafted and what effect it would have on the team. So when I dug into this, though, here's what's interesting to me. Every single one of the wide receivers that the Jets added this offseason spent more time in the slot last year than they spent outside. Denzel has been lining up way more on the outside than he does in the slot. So what it tells me is Crowder's gone, but it tells me that like Mims is going to see the field. Like Mims and Corey Davis are going to see the field a lot on the outside, and Elijah Moore is going to have to beat out Crowder, but he's going to ultimately get in there as more of the slot receiver. Not that he can't line up outside, and all of them can do a little bit of both, right? But everyone they added spent more time in the slot last year than they did on the outside.
Well, Corey Davis is not a slot receiver. I had this argument once with someone else, and Corey Davis is an outside receiver. He's always been an outside receiver. I hear this from time to time. They show me these numbers of slot percentage. I'm like, that's not right. There's just no way.
He's going to play outside. No doubt.
No, Corey Davis is an outside receiver. Corey Davis, they signed him to be an outside receiver. He's an outside receiver. That's what he's always been. So he's not a very good one. He's just okay. The problem with Denzel Mims is that he's bad. Is that he's bad. It doesn't matter where he has opportunity. I just think he's very bad. I have no interest. I don't want bad players. I want good players.
Disagree. I think he's good.
Why? Okay. What did he do? Tell me what part of his. Tell me what did he do that makes you think he's good? Name something. Tell me something that was good.
I liked him in college.
Oh, really?
You liked his, all last year playing for Adam Gase.
Right. You liked his college profile. What about his believe late declare older receiver college profile? Breakout was where? I don't know. It wasn't early, right? Well, what about it? What about his college profile did you like?
Not necessarily the stats. I liked him in college as a player. Watching him, he was one of the people that I wrote up for a magazine back that year, and I liked a lot of what he could do, and I thought he was a good fit on a team where he could play on the outside like that. Just not with Adam Gase. I hated that he wound up there.
Right.
I don't think hardly any of the rookie wide receivers last year could have succeeded in that offense.
Okay, well, so he had a poor college profile. The college profile was poor. Analytically, it was poor. Then he's supposed to be a late first-round pick. Falls almost a whole round in the draft. How well do those players usually do? How well do those players usually do? The ones that at the last minute fall in the draft. How good are those players usually? Are those usually the players we want or usually the players we don't want? I'm just saying every indicator, and then in his rookie year, he falls flat on his face. He does nothing. So you're telling me that you think that Denzel Mims is good, but there's no evidence to suggest that Denzel Mims is good. I just have to take your word for it. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with the evidence that says that Denzel Mims sucks and that I want the other receivers on the team.
Bob is saying never Jets. He's saying Elijah Moore will outscore Denzel Mims.
That's very possible.
Denzel Moore is going to be on the field, or Denzel Mims is going to be on the field more than Elijah Moore next year.
Corey Davis is going to be the top scoring receiver on that team. I think that Corey Davis is Denzel Mims' ceiling. Pretty much. I mean, how different are they really? Really? How different are they? If Denzel Mims did everything that you alleged that he could, he would end up being Corey Davis.
What I'm alleging is he's going to see a lot of the field, and that presents opportunities. And in Dynasty and in fantasy football, that is something we want. Somebody that's going to see
Perryman saw a lot of the field for the Jets last year, and he's going to see a lot of the field for the Lions this year. Do you want him?
He was hurt a lot. He was hurt.
Do you want Rashad Perryman or Tyrell Williams in Detroit? I don't think so. Even though they're going to see plenty of the field, seeing the field is not good.
Yeah, but those are such late buys. Like I'm totally okay with all those guys at their ADP.
Mims is too expensive. He's too expensive. He's still too expensive. If he were cheaper, I would agree with you, but he's not. That's the thing. He's like 2 rounds too expensive. He's priced as if he's going to produce, and that is far from a guarantee. That's my issue with Denzel Mims. It's price.
Love seeing Chris in here. He chimes in. Hey boys, what's up, Chris? Certainly love seeing you in here. Reese Fletcher chimes in. Is Tony Pollard worth keeping as a contender?
Yes.
What's a fair return for Tony Pollard in a 12-team Superflex league? If he is going to sell him, he's RB5.
I wouldn't sell him. This is the kind of player you keep as a contender. Why would you sell him? You're not going to get anything in return. And his upside for you as a contender, if Zeke goes down, is immense. So you don't sell players like this if you're a contender. These are the kind of players you keep on your bench for depth throughout the season. You never know what's going to happen. You never know. I mean, there could be injuries. There could be, look at what happened last year. There was an injury every other week. Forget even COVID. There were injury issues too on all sorts of teams that people didn't see coming. So no, you don't sell Pollard if you're a contender. You hang on to him.
All right. So my only question with him though is I don't think he's going to be more than a third down type running back.
What if Zeke tore his ACL?
I don't know that Tony Pollard's role has to change.
Oh, well, okay. Who else on the team is going to get carries, right? I mean, if Zeke tears his ACL week 2, magic carries are going to appear for someone else. This is what I'm saying, right? I mean,
Dak probably just throws the ball more, right? I mean, like,
no,
you got all those receivers and you got Dak Prescott. You just throw the ball.
No, I'm not saying Pollard's going to be Zeke if Zeke goes down. But if Zeke goes down, Pollard will be a high-end RB2.
I love this. We're getting you very fired up right here in the first show. I love this. This is amazing.
Not fired up. No one's asked me about Tyler Boyd yet. No one's asked me about Bateman yet.
Taysom Hill fan, go Saints. What's up, guys?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir, but that you're a fan of a tight end. So if anybody listen to this, look, go check out DLF and all that. But
Derek Brown just did an article that released today on Taysom Hill versus Jameis Winston that you should go read because it's very well done.
I will read it. Well, actually, I don't read a lot of articles. I as a consumer, I mostly consume video podcasts. And actually, a lot of what I consume is from this very channel.
Taysom Hill is going to be a thing.
Our good friend Addison creates great content on this channel that I really enjoy. And also the DLF podcast, which I do listen to with, on the DLF family of podcasts. I listen to the DLF flagship show. So people should listen to that. I really do listen to these things. I've been listening to them for years, not just since I only started writing at DLF in February, but I've been listening to the DLF podcast, I think since 2017, and it's been a while.
This is an interesting thought here.
No.
Mostert will still be cut?
Nah. This is overthinking it. This is forgetting that real teams are not us. They're not going to cut their only remaining veteran that they had last year. That's ridiculous. They're not going to do that. Sorry. No. I could understand the argument when Jeff Wilson was healthy because they gave Jeff Wilson like $2.5 million guaranteed. I could understand it. But now that Jeff Wilson is injured and he's not going to be there to start the season, contending teams don't cut their starting running back. That's something maybe the Jaguars or the Jets would do. Notice I named the two teams that did it. But the 49ers think they're winning a Super Bowl. You're not cutting your starting running back from last year and leaving yourself with two rookies and Wayne Gallman as your running backs. That is dumb. They will not do that. Let's stop it. That idea went away when Jeff Wilson got hurt.
Wayne Gallman looked pretty good for your Giants last year.
He looked good, but what I'm saying is you feel comfortable. You'd feel comfortable as you think you're going to go to a Super Bowl. You'd feel comfortable with Trey Sermon and Elijah Mitchell, two rookies, and Wayne Gallman as your backfield. You'd feel comfortable with that because I certainly would not.
I don't know. Who was like 2 years ago, nobody even knew who Raheem Mostert is.
And he looked good on the field. He looked good. The last 2 years, when healthy, he did. He was one of the fastest players in the league. He looked good on the field with his carries. When he was in the lineup, he looked good. People always say that I hate everyone old, right? I must hate Raheem Mostert, right? I hate Julio, for example. People think I hate these players. I don't hate them. I just don't want them in Dynasty because of Dynasty strategy. But Mostert still has juice. They're trying to win a Super Bowl, or that's what they say. They're not cutting their most experienced running back on the team. That's not going to happen. Let's move on to the next question.
I think this is Spence, by the way, at JTRB1 on Twitter.
Spence, and I'm disagreeing with him. I disagreed with him before, and I'm disagreeing with him again. I'm going to be on their show, by the way, on this fantasy weather show. Now it's called the Fantasy Newsroom. I'm going to be on that show on Thursday. So they'll get to see me disagree with them up close and personal.
Primetime Mock, he does confirm that Tevin Coleman does in fact.
I apologize to Mr. Primetime Mock. I was supposed to be on his show on Thursday, but I was very sick last week. I didn't go on any of my shows or anything. I'm just happy I didn't miss the debut of this show. My throat's still not perfect, but I missed that show. But Tevin Coleman does suck, and thank you for listening.
The people are very glad that you got better and you were able to make it and you're able to answer.
People are very happy to have me. I know,
and I'm grateful too. I'm glad we get a chance to do this and start this off. So I'm going to reset this. So if you're listening, anybody, if you're new here, we are answering questions from the comment section. So anywhere you're watching this, Periscope or YouTube, Facebook, type your questions in. We'll be able to answer them. And if you're watching this back and not live, you're watching this after we record it, you can still send your questions in and we will get to those. And we got a few of them coming from Twitter here shortly. And but we are going to keep this rolling in the comments section. But for next week, get those questions in to us as well, because we are doing this every single week. So Alberto, Dynasty 10-team PPR. He wants to give up Christian McCaffrey. Is it worth DJ Moore 101 and the 103?
I'll take Moore in the picks. That's way too much. Even for Christian McCaffrey, that's way too much.
League?
Yeah, but look at what you're talking about. You're talking about, I mean, for me, you're probably talking about, I have Jamar Chase as my 101, but let's say you're talking DJ Moore, Jamar Chase, and Travis Etienne or CMC. Then think of when you put the names to it, you want those three players. You don't want. That's too much. It's just way too expensive.
Absolutely. So I want to, there was a little bit of technical difficulty. I had this really neat thing through Photoshop worked out where I was going to be able to pull the tweets up on the screen. I was not able to, like, I thought I had it and I just tried it. And it did not work. And I'm really bummed.
Are we going back to the old questions or are we doing the live questions?
We're doing both. So I'm going to start going back and forth. So now I'm just kind of copy and pasting and putting in here. So we're still getting to the questions, but look, it's going to look better next week. All right. It's going to look better.
Behind the curtain. Cal is in control of the show. I'm just here to yell at the mic.
And I'm here to get you as fired up as I can. So yes. Eric says, who will act? This is Eric John Flynn.
Eric. We love Eric.
Absolutely. Who will actually run the ball in New England, assuming it's not Cam? They have a decent defense, so someone should have opportunity to get some good work. And he says, do not answer this with, it's New England, so who cares? Assume that somebody gets the nod.
Well, I mean, it's Damian Harris or nobody. It's either Damian Harris or we don't care. So my guess is it's going to be we don't care. But it's Damian Harris or nothing.
Damian Harris, like, I'm actually kind of think he's good. I like just watching him, like watching the football games. Like I know the numbers, and this is where, like, you know, I do have that analytical brain, but I also like watching football. And when I watch Damian Harris, like, he's got some juice to him. I actually like watching him run. If he gets an opportunity to actually be the full-time back, I think he could be pretty good. I don't know if he's going to catch a lot of passes, but I think he could be somebody that is worth adding. Rostering.
This is the opposite, though. It's actually where I don't think he's as good as the numbers say. The numbers actually are pretty kind to Damian Harris. I don't think he's that good, though. So I just think that we don't want these guys. I really do. Why'd they bother to re-sign James White? Why'd they draft Ramondre Stevenson in the 4th round? Why? Like, I don't understand. Damian Harris had like 7 targets last year. 7 targets. I think it was. Not even receptions. 7 targets. If he doesn't get any passing work, and we know what Bill Belichick does with his running backs, his ceiling is like mid to low end RB2. And that's fine. I'll take that. But yeah, Damian Harris is also actually, he's priced about appropriately the last time I checked. I'm fine with him at his cost. He is a reasonable investment. Ramondre Stevenson too comes pretty cheap. Fine with him at his cost as well. It's all whatever.
This one comes from @DKeezy on. Just imagine you can just see the tweet up here instead of this banner that I've got to use. But is 109 in Superflex drafts the last great pick available? Who's the dream at 110 if it goes chalk? So, I mean, I think that for me, there are 8 players that are clearly better. Beginning with, Trevor Lawrence, going then to the Fields and Lance. Then we come to kind of the next grouping, which includes, in some order, Jamar Chase, Najee Harris, Kyle Pitts, Zach Wilson, and Travis Etienne, who I also have been rising on lately. And those are including Javonte, I guess, is who he's. Yeah, I'm not including Javonte. Javonte is part of a new group for me. The next group of 4, which is Javonte, Mac Jones, Devonta Smith, and Jalen Waddle. And I have them in that order. So, yeah, I would say there's a big 8 for me, and then a little 4, and then a massive cliff after that. There's 12. It's after number 12. It's 20, 30 overall spots until the next guy. Going to jump back into the questions coming in the chat. And if you are here, get those questions in. Yes. We are going to answer as many of these. If I could, I would do this show for 3 hours. I don't care. Yeah, we don't have a time limit here. Yeah, there's no time limit. I mean, we'll answer questions as long as you send them in. It's not like I have anywhere to go. Get those questions in. So Jeff asks, our league switched to Superflex this year, which I have questions about that, by the way, because I have one. Yeah, well, let's talk about that after we answer his question. Yeah, I picked up Matt Stafford on waiver last year and stashed him. This year, it paid off. What? Well, hold on. Why was Matt Stafford on waivers even in a 1 QB? That is bizarre. He shouldn't. Okay. I have lots of questions here, Jeff. I have a lot of questions. Very bizarre. But anyway, I just traded Stafford for Amari Cooper and Zach Boss. Now, it's a super flex league. I know you're not going to think Zach Moss is worth very much. What about for Amari Cooper?
No, I don't hate Zach Moss. Like, he's fine.
He's fine.
I'll take Stafford.
Yeah. Stafford's going actually like in the, at a pretty decent
too
ADP.
Early, but too early for me. But just given that, I'll take Stafford anyway. Also, people don't like Amari.
So how do you switch your league from a 1 QB league to a super flex league?
I have a simple answer to this. You don't. You just start over. Like, you don't. None of the ways that anyone has ever suggested of how to switch a 1 QB to a super flex have ever appealed to me. I think that they're all unfair. They're all stupid. And I think that you should just honestly just forget your 1 QB league and just start over. That's my actual recommendation. That's my honest advice. None of the ways are fair. There just is no good way to do it. So that's always what I tell people is just start a new super flex league. And I think that all new leagues should be super flex personally. For Dynasty, I think there's just no comparison. For redraft, I get it. Actually, for redraft, I prefer a 1 QB. Maybe because I wrote a streaming QB article the last 2 years. So I have like a soft spot for that. But in Dynasty, 1 QB Dynasty gets kind of stale. So I prefer super flex.
Yeah, just the value of quarterbacks is so different in those leagues. And I'm with you. I prefer super flex. You're right. Maybe the best thing is just to say
there's no good way.
Reset and do it over and do a super flex.
People have come up with so many different like contrived things, and I've never liked them. So that's my honest advice: is just don't.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
If you have good comments, if you're somebody watching this and you have successfully changed over to Superflex in some way that we have not heard of, put it in the comment section.
I've heard of them all, though. They're just they're not appealing.
While you're there, make sure you're subscribed. If you're watching this, subscribe to the channel, hit those notifications so that you know where when we're going live. Leave us a like, put comments in there. Like, that's a great way to support us and let us know that you like what we're doing here and appreciate what we're doing. So Philip comes back. He still has Akers, Harris. I forgot what his original question was. I'm sorry, Philip.
We were roasting him, and I'll stand by roasting him.
We're going to go back. Spencer, have you found... I don't know if this is the same Spencer, but...
I think it is. But anyway.
Have you found an undrafted free agent that you are rooting for or that you like?
Well, I don't really like one player over another. I don't really get into that. So that I'm rooting for, no, I'm rooting for my fantasy team to win. So, and for the people I'm advising their fantasy teams to win. So I wouldn't say there's anyone that I'm rooting for. I don't anticipate there being any UDFA really making an impact this year. Obviously, Javian Hawkins is the big name for everyone in Atlanta, just because they have a pretty open depth chart at running back. Other than him, literally nobody else has really gotten on my radar at all. Maybe Jared Patterson in Washington, but he's stuck behind Gibson. And then there's literally no one else. So yeah, my answer to that is Javian Hawkins, because he's literally the only one that I care about.
Now, I was watching the NFC North preview that we did, and you did have an interesting one from the Vikings that you mentioned as a stash. Ngakoue.
Well, he's not a UDFA. He was a 4th-round pick.
Oh, he was. Oh, are you sure?
Yes.
4th-round pick.
That's why I liked him so much.
Right. It was too late at night.
Yeah, that's why I liked him so much, because I didn't expect him to spend a 4th-round pick on a running back. That's why I was into him.
Pick him up. He's going undrafted in your leagues, probably. Pick him up.
I do like him a lot. But yeah, this year's UDFA class is very weak, in my opinion. Yeah. So yeah, there's only a few that I think are worth roster spots: Hawkins, Patterson, and maybe Tamorian Terry. And I would say that's it. Jumping one that I even want at all.
Jumping back over to our Twitter questions. This one came in from Andrew Hall. What are we doing with Todd Gurley, if anything? Is he still worth stashing just in case, or should we be dropping him in the same question, but for Le'Veon Bell? Now, we did just mention a backfield that we aren't sure there's anybody there we trust.
Couple of those out there.
Yeah.
Jets, Dolphins.
These veterans, sometimes a coach just wants somebody that not necessarily is going to do anything special, but they're just going to get what comes to them or run the right play or block the right person.
We don't need to waste a lot of time on this question. The answer to this question is Gurley, yes, Bell, no. The end.
Ooh.
Gurley, yes, Bell, no. Bell is done. Bell is completely done. I think Bell's never going to play in the NFL again. He has nothing left. He sucked last year. He was terrible. Kansas City brought him in. He sucked. He's done. Gurley, I would say yes, just because he's Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley at his best was better than Le'Veon Bell at his best. And Todd Gurley's 2.5 years younger.
Can I just say these are two of the most fun running backs to watch in the last 10 years? Like, I loved watching these guys.
So?
They were awesome. I just, like, as a football fan, watching Le'Veon Bell behind that line, just like his patience, like he just, somebody that he ran different than anybody else I saw out there. Like, he was, I loved him. I
liked Gurley better.
I liked Gurley too. No doubt.
I liked Gurley better.
But yeah, they were both a lot of fun to watch. FF Bowler 300. So he must be pretty good at bowling. He asked, "Hey Tyler, I am a bit concerned about the drafting of Chase in Cincinnati as a Higgins owner. Should I be worried? And if so, who are a few wide receivers around his range who you would be happy to move him for?"
You should not be worried, and I wouldn't move him. You can't move him now. You're not going to get the value you want. I have him significantly higher in my personal rankings than he has in ADP, so I wouldn't even try to trade him. Just hold on to him.
Why do you think that they'll both be worth rostering at their current ADP? Because I agree with you, but I just I want you to,
because Higgins is
I know we talked about this before.
Because Higgins is very, very talented. And very, very talented receivers continue to produce, even when other good receivers enter the team. That's why. Higgins is very good. Go back and look at Higgins' stats in 2020 for rookie. Very impressive. Is he Jamar Chase? No. Very few receivers are. That is not a realistic expectation. Not every receiver is going to be Jamar Chase. And I think Jamar Chase is a better receiver right now than T. Higgins will ever be in his career. But don't hear what I'm not saying. That doesn't mean that T. Higgins is bad. That doesn't mean that T. Higgins can't produce. I think that I have T. Higgins ranked as, like, for 2021. I just did my 2021 rankings. I have him ranked, I think, wide receiver 23. So I'm expecting him to produce. I have Chase wide receiver 24. So I'm expecting them both to produce. We don't want to know where I have Tyler Boyd. It's not very high. I think he's going to suffer because he is not good. Unlike, he's okay, but he's just okay compared to these two who are very, very good. I think that this is the new Julio and Ridley. This is the new Evans and Godwin. I think that that's the kind of level that these Chase and Higgins can perform at. And you didn't fade one because another was there. And remember that Higgins is very young. He's only just turning 22. He has a 99 birthday. I wish I knew Higgins' birth month. I know it's in 99. But yeah, he's only 22 years old. So you don't want to fade a 22-year-old wide receiver who showed alpha traits in his rookie year, and played well even when his star quarterback went down. He played well with the replacements. You don't fade that guy. Doesn't matter that another receiver came.
Yes, I'd agree. And then I would add that this is an offense that wants to lead the league in passing attempts. When Burrow went down, he was second in the NFL behind Tom Brady, and he was playing college 6 months before. So, like, they immediately wanted to run the most amount of plays in the NFL and throw the ball as many times as anybody else. So, yeah, it's an offense that there's going to be a lot of targets to go around. The pie is big. Some places, Baltimore, the pie is not very big. Cincinnati, it can support multiple wide receivers.
If you told me that this year T. Higgins and Jamar Chase both finished as wide receiver ones, I would believe you. I think it's possible. I think it's possible. I don't have it ranked that way because that's a big bet to make. That's just betting that Joe Burrow is really, really good, which we didn't really see, right? We didn't actually see. We saw him pass the ball a lot, but we didn't see him be superb. We didn't see him be excellent. We didn't see him be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We didn't see that. We saw him be good. So that's why I don't have them ranked as wide receiver ones. But if Joe Burrow hits the ceiling that he hits, and by the way, I think if I'm wrong on my ranking, it's going to be Higgins and Chase that I'm too low on, not Boyd. I'm confident in my Boyd ranking no matter how well Burrow plays.
I like Boyd. Burrow,
I know you do, and you can bask in the glory of being wrong for longer. You're going to be on the show with me for a long time. That's one of my favorite sayings. You can bask in the glory of being wrong. It's a good saying. I think it really gets the point across very quickly.
5 out of his first 7 weeks, Burrow had over 300 yards passing. It was really just touchdowns. He didn't get the ball in the end zone enough. If he can get better at that,
his accuracy
then everybody is like you said, that scenario where both of them finish as a wide receiver one, it's going to be touchdowns. He's going to have to be more efficient there.
And Higgins, we know, and do we want Higgins in the end zone? What about Jamar Chase? Like, how many touchdowns did he score? Didn't he score? What was it? 20 touchdowns playing with Joe Burrow?
Yes,
20 touchdowns. So we have no doubt that these two players can score touchdowns.
Oh, imagine a scenario. This is True North Nate, who said hi earlier. He said, if you had to choose between James Conner and Chris Carson in Dynasty, who would you choose and why?
I don't understand. This Chris Carson is not even close. Why is the question? Chris Carson is the guaranteed starter for a run-heavy offense, and James Conner is a maybe who's always hurt. So it's Chris Carson. It's really easy. I don't understand this question.
There are a lot of people who are still, for some reason, drafting and investing in Rashad Penny, and I don't understand it.
Oh, I think that's a great idea. Actually, I think that's a great idea. I think people should do that. No, I think people should. Yes, they should. They should do that. There's actually a whole article coming out on it. I think they should do that. They should do that because there are no other running backs on Seattle. No other running backs. There aren't any. There aren't any. DJ Dallas? No. That's not a running back. That's a failure. Rashad Penny was about to steal Chris Carson's job. People don't remember that. In 2019, the job was going away. The job was being taken from Chris Carson. He was about to lose the job. He fumbled that one last time. Remember, Pete Carroll, I was watching this game. Pete Carroll sent him to the bench. He never came back in. Rashad Penny comes in and busts off a long run. And then they have a 50-50 timeshare in the next game. And then the week after that, Rashad Penny tore his ACL on his first carry, and he never came back. But let's not forget what was happening. That was what was about to happen. So, yeah, I actually completely disagree. I think that people should be stashing Rashad Penny. He's one of my favorite stashes, actually, in all of Dynasty.
What's your favorite word? How would you describe his time in Seattle so far?
I would describe it as mostly a failure. Yeah. I would describe it as mostly a failure, but it was looking like a success before he got hurt. And I'm less tough on guys who got hurt. I'm much tougher on guys who played for a long time and failed. And I'm also definitely tougher on quarterbacks. I'm very tough on quarterbacks. Quarterbacks, really, I like to give it to them.
Really good question here from Jazz Whedon. Wait till the clock to trade down at 102 in rookie drafts so they can see their player available. So this is really just a strategy. Like, when's the right time to sell like your 102 or like a draft pick that you have? When's the right time?
Whenever you get an offer that you like, don't be afraid to sell it early if you get a good offer. And if you don't, then wait. You can always sell it on the clock. It's not that hard. If you just message everyone in the league and just slow down the entire draft until someone trades with you, you'll get a trade done. We didn't hear me recommend that, but it works. I'm sorry. It does. So, and there are people who consistently do that. So
there's an interesting article idea. I saw you putting that out of when the most value for those picks might be. That might be an interesting thing to study.
That's not a me article.
Yeah, for anybody. So, okay, here's a non-fantasy question. We'll interrupt this. Who is your dark horse to win the Super Bowl? Do you have a dark horse to win the Super Bowl?
Dark horse? The Denver Broncos.
Led by Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, yes. That's my answer.
Yeah. I'll say the Washington football team.
Right.
If I'm picking a dark horse, like, they got the best defense in football, I think.
Yeah.
It's a dark horse.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. Let us know. Let us know who you think in the comments down below if you're watching. Evan chimes back in a Superflex and tight end premium league with 2 points per reception. Woo, what would it take for you to take Pitts over Lance or Fields in your rookie draft?
Being put into a coma. And the pick being auto picked for me. I'm not doing that. I don't care what the premium on tight end is. Quarterbacks are very hard to find, and those two are very high upside quarterbacks. So it would take a lot. I'll still take Lance over Fields.
Love Colwyn. Thank you for your super chat here.
Yeah, thank you. The first one of today.
The first one. I apologize for not seeing it for a couple of minutes. As soon as you get this in, we're going to do our best to answer it in these super chats. So 10 team, 2 QB, DJ Chark, 4, Mike Davis, and Michael Carter. I assume that is who that is. What do you think?
It's the Chark side. I love it. I love it. 2 running backs that I dislike for a receiver that I'm not my favorite, but still young receiver that I like. DJ Chark, easy. Give me DJ Chark. It's not close.
Okay, interesting. See, I read that as he's going to be trading away Chark for Mike Davis and Michael Carter.
Well, then I don't love it.
Yeah, if you're doing that, I would say don't.
I don't love it. It's the Chark side very easily though.
Yeah, because especially in a 10-team league, there's like a little bit of wiggle room there, and you want to bet on what the highest ceiling is. Like DJ Chark could be the wide receiver 1 in Jacksonville, and it wouldn't be terribly surprising. And with Trevor Lawrence, like that could be really, really good.
Even though I don't really like DJ Chark.
No, but if he's there and he's, Fuster agrees with us. Definitely Chark side there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, DJ Chark.
DJ Chark.
Yeah.
There's
so many questions. We're getting buried in questions.
I know there's so many, but keep them coming. And
I know, I like it. Keep the questions coming.
Keep them coming. Love it. Really appreciate the chat. Really appreciate all the questions. Get them both in, or get them all in. Philip chimes back in. This is good, Philip. You're asking us the question before you make the trade. This is progress. I like this. How are we feeling about Leonard Fournette's ceiling and floor? I assume he's trying to trade for him, but
what ceiling? I mean, oh my God,
Super Bowl Lenny. What do you mean about ceiling?
I don't know. There's going to be another committee there. They for some reason they signed Gio Bernard. Why? Why did they do that? They still have Ronald Jones. I mean, his ceiling is what, a high-end RB2? If Jones tore his ACL, his floor is being cut in week 4. I mean, that's his floor. To be honest, I mean that's his floor. Is nothing. Nothing at all is his floor.
Colwyn chimes back in. Appreciate it. He's getting charged.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Boom. I like it.
Yes.
This is what we like.
Yep. Same thing. The FF Bowler agrees. It's a no-brainer.
This brings up a good topic. Yeah. When you come to us, ask us the question, and then go hit the button. Don't wait. Once we tell you the answer, go hit the button.
Absolutely. Make sure to do that. And really appreciate you, Colwyn.
Because other people may be listening. They may be listening to me saying that I like your side of the trade. And they might revoke that trade if they're listening. So you got to be careful. You're not the only one who listens to this show.
I don't think people want a whole full-blown like Taysom Hill.
No, we're not doing
that. We've had our discussions about
we've had it already. It hasn't come out yet, right?
Tyler says Jameis.
Yes, he does.
It's, to me, like 100% it's Taysom Hill.
No. But no, Taysom Hill is a tight end.
I'm going to change this question a little bit just because we've talked about it. One, if either one of these guys, so if Taysom Hill is the starter for 17 games, where would he be? If I told you, like guaranteed you he's starting for 17 games, where would he be in your redraft rankings at quarterback?
QB 15.
Yeah, see, he was QB 6 during his 4 weeks of starting. And that's with that terrible Denver game.
If they start Taysom Hill for 17 games, we're looking at a 3-14 record. Yeah, this is going to be a disaster. A disaster. Taysom Hill is a joke. He's a joke. You're telling me that over a full NFL season, NFL teams, I watch Taysom Hill play. I watch the way he throws the ball. I watch the way he runs. He's a joke. I did a thread on Twitter about, some people were comparing Taysom Hill to Jalen Hurts. I was like, what comparison? One of those two players is quarterback. The other is a joke. So, no, Taysom Hill is a joke. If Sean Payton is going to, I think Sean Payton is going to pay here because he thinks that he's the smartest person ever. He's the smartest person of all time. He can do anything. He can make anyone succeed. And I think he's going to learn a very, very valuable lesson. Very valuable lesson with Taysom Hill. When they're 3-14 or 4-13, oh boy, you're gonna see the fans quickly turn on Sean Payton because Taysom Hill, is not talented. He's not good at anything. And they're going to be awful. And that's why I would say QB 15, just because, he's going to run the ball because he can't throw it. And he'll produce some fantasy numbers. But I just think once you watch it, you're just not going to be able to stomach that for very long. There's just no way he's going to get through a 17-game season. There's just not possible.
So I think he starts. I think in that scenario where
he's good at anything.
He does that.
Do you think he's good at anything? Is he good at anything?
He's going to be a top. He's going to be a top 10 quarterback if he goes 10.
Do you think he's good at anything? Do you think he's good at anything? What?
I do.
Explain to me. Tell me what you think he's good at.
Every single quarterback in the NFL that threw over 120 passes last year,
I don't want to hear it.
He had the highest completion percentage
on a very tiny sample size.
He had the smallest. Well, the sample size is what it is.
Okay, what about his massive sample size? Okay, what about his massive sample size as a quarterback in college? He sucked. He was horrible. So you think that magically he went to the NFL magically and suddenly became a good quarterback? I don't think so. I think that it's just a small sample size. He looks awful when he throws the ball. Awful. I've never seen a quarterback. The only quarterback I've ever seen that looks worse than him is Tim Tebow. The only one that's worse. He's a joke. He's not a quarterback. Like, you're just telling me about these numbers, but you actually think he does any of that stuff well? He doesn't do anything well.
I do.
He doesn't do anything well.
I won't bore anybody else. I won't bore anybody with continuing on to talk about Taysom or Jameis.
Well. Nothing.
But check out Derek Brown's article, because he does go back to his days at BYU and dissects everything.
Where he was horrible, by the way, I might add. Horrible. Go look at the numbers. The numbers say he was terrible.
He breaks the numbers down.
5 years. 5 years of lots more playing time than he had on the Saints. He was terrible for all of those years. Terrible. Back
to Twitter. We really appreciate everybody who's getting those questions in as well. And this is from our buddy Malcolm McMillian at McLateral FF.
Oh, Malcolm.
Yeah, he says, what is your trade value for Julio? He's got a few different questions.
Okay.
We'll start with that one.
I don't even know how to evaluate Julio. Like, I don't know. What's he even worth? He's one of those players you can't trade anymore. He produces more than he has left. So Julio doesn't really have a real trade value. Julio's never moved.
Yeah, I don't honestly think you can get anybody to take him. Now, maybe when he gets traded, if there's enough buzz and you can get one person to buy in, fine.
Where's he going to get traded where he's in a better situation than he's
not. But I'm just saying, if one person can buy in, like, he's not going to be more valuable anywhere else. He's in this.
He's going to be less valuable
spot. Yes. Like, the best chance for him to score points in 2021 is right where he is.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. What about Russell Gage?
I'm not trading for Russell Gage. He's a throw-in.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and so he says, are you trying to trade for either one of them? Does this make you more or less likely to target Kyle Pitts? I don't think it affects Kyle Pitts at all.
Not too much.
Yeah.
It doesn't really change anything.
Yep. I am definitely with you there. So Keegan, he chimes in. Appreciate you chiming in, Keegan. Anybody who's listening right now, we just had a bunch come in. We're taking comments. We're taking questions. Tyler's fueling up so we can go and answer as many of these as we can.
Now, people demand answers to the questions. We will give the people answers. Even if they're mean, we will give the people answers to their questions.
Darnell Mooney and a 2022 mid-third round for an early 2022 second, 2022 fourth, and Cornell Powell.
Okay. I mean, this is about right. A mid-third and a fourth and Powell are about the same to me. So that really leaves Mooney for that early 2022 second. In a super flex, I'd probably just take my chances with the 2022 second. I think that's enough. The 2022 class is going to have some players in it, and Mooney's still a fifth-round pick. In a 1 QB, I think this is about fair. Almost spot on.
What do you think about Mooney this season? Like, what is your expectations? Like, we know he doesn't have the draft capital that typically suggests that he's going to be great, right? But he did look good last year. So there's like kind of conflicting things there. What do you think?
I like him with Justin Fields, but he has a low ceiling. Like, there are a lot of players like Darnell Mooney. So in a super flex, if you can give me that early second, I would just take it. In a 1 QB, though, this is about right. Like I said.
Yep. Early 2022 second and 2022 fourth. Like, I just don't know that you're going to get a ton of value there. You
say that every year, but see, that's the thing. Look at the draft this year. The 201 in a super flex, you could be getting like your choice of whoever you want, of like Trey Sermon, Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore, Rashad Bateman. You can get your choice of that. Whereas in 1 QB, you're getting like the whatever's left over, or not even any of those guys, and you're down to like Michael Carter. So like those players in a super flex sounded much more appealing. But when you get to those players in a 1 QB, you're kind of a little bit eh. So that's why I say that's the division for me.
Pedro, 1 QB, and he cuts off and then comes back in. 1 QB dynasty just got offered Josh Jacobs, Julio Jones. I'm assuming that's Antonio Brown and not AJ Brown. Yeah, Antonio Brown. Mark Andrews 4, James Conner, Mike Evans, Brevin Jordan, and George Kittle.
Okay.
So break this one down.
I will take I'll take there's a lot of players I don't like on the left. So I'll take, there's really one player in this trade I really want, and it's Kittle. So I'll take the side on the right. Yeah,
Kittle is probably, I was just looking through here, Kittle is definitely the most valuable player, right?
Oh,
and Mike Evans. I mean, Mike Evans is really good too. I mean, he doesn't get the due that he's deserved, but Evans
and Jacobs have similar value. And then I'd probably rather have Kittle than all three of those.
Yeah.
Let alone with, I mean, honestly, I'd rather have James Conner than Antonio Brown. So, and I'd rather have Kittle than Julio and Andrews. So, and then I still have Brevin Jordan on there. So yeah, I'll take it's not that close. It's close, but not that close. I prefer Kittle side.
FF Bowler, he chimes in. This is a question that I know you have some good advice for.
Yeah, we even talked about this earlier.
He has the 101 in a 1 QB dynasty rookie draft, and you don't have any particular need at a position. Who are you taking? How do you handle that?
I'll take Jamar Chase.
And why?
Because he's a really good receiver. Really good receiver prospect. He's very young. I mean, he just turned 21 years old. Najee Harris, if Najee Harris were 21, he would be the choice, but he's 23. So that pushes him down for me. It's just how I'm going to do it. I'm an ageist. I'm sorry. And he's older. He's almost a year older than Jonathan Taylor. Like, he's a year and 3 months older than Cam Akers. And those guys have already delivered in the NFL. We assume that Najee Harris, and I think he will deliver a great performance in the NFL, but we don't know. We could be wrong. So like, combine his added age with the fact that we could be wrong, and that pushes me towards Chase. I don't consider Pitt.
Philosophically, I like what you say when you talk about, that you like to just draft for talent and trade for need. Like that. Always. That to me is how you do it in Dynasty League.
Well, that's not from me. I mean, that's from Dynasty Outhouse.
You say it a lot. I'm giving you credit.
I say it a lot, but that's a Dynasty Outhouse saying. That's not a Tyler original. Tyler original do things like failure. We don't like failure. That's a Tyler original. But yeah, no. Draft for value, trade for need. I mean, a lot of people have said that, but that's a Dynasty Outhouse. Who our colleague at DLF, hosts the Trade Addicts podcast, which everyone should listen to, by the way. That's something we got to give him credit for from time to time when we bring it up, because it comes up so often.
Shout out to Russ Fisher. Definitely make sure you're
Russ Fisher is Dynasty Outhouse, in case anyone watching doesn't know. Those are the same person.
Yes. This is a follow-up from FF Bowler. Appreciate you watching and contributing to the show. This is, certainly love that.
Talked about this. Yeah, we haven't talked about this.
Where does Julio end up? Because he is obviously out of Atlanta. And I agree. It's just for June 1st. I think that is the only thing that they're waiting on. What are some of the best case and worst case scenarios for him?
I mean, he said live on the air that he's out of Atlanta. So he's out of Atlanta. That's no longer really in debate for me. I've already changed the prices on things like, players like Matt Ryan and Kyle Pitts and Calvin Ridley or Russell Gage. I've already changed their prices, assuming that Julio's gone. But as for where he's going to go, I unfortunately think it's the Patriots. I really do. I do. They need him the most. They need him. They need him, right? I mean, they don't have anything. They have nothing at wide receiver. They need him. And I'm sorry, if he goes to the Patriots, I'm going to be very out. I'm going to be very out on Julio in fantasy and dynasty. He'll probably be dead in the water for me in dynasty. I just won't want him because he'll be right now. To give you an idea, right now I have Julio as wide receiver 13 in redraft. In redraft, I have him as wide receiver 13 on the Falcons. On the Patriots, Julio's probably wide receiver. I'm thinking, who do I want? Do I want T. Higgins or do I want Julio on the Patriots? I'm not sure. Like, that means I'd probably rather have Julio, but it's close. He's in that range. Like, he'd be like wide receiver 20 or 21, and then he's lost all his value. I'm just not going to be rostering an old receiver who's I'm rating as a back-end wide receiver too. So he'd be where I have Adam Thielen ranked, which is about 20 spots lower than Julio is now. So, yeah, the Patriots is the worst and also the most likely. The best case scenario is the Chargers. Ooh, you want to talk about a perfect complement? Imagine Julio and Keenan Allen playing together. Imagine, could you put together a more complementary pair of receivers than Julio and Keenan Allen? I don't think you could. I think they're the perfect complement for Justin Herbert. Imagine that. Imagine what the success that Julio could find there. That would be the best case scenario.
Best complementary receivers in the league outside of Denzel Mims and Elijah Moore. Very good. Wow. I appreciate it.
Yeah, these are good complementary receivers. Two of the best receivers in the league instead of whatever those two were. But also the Chiefs, if they can somehow do it. But
yeah,
I don't.
At least one person has not had enough of the Taysom Hill and Jameis talk because Tom chimes in. You think Sean Payton will tolerate Jameis's INTs? And the answer is no, Tom. You're correct. No,
well, considering that he's currently one of the only quarterbacks on the roster other than Ian Book, yes, I think he will tolerate the interceptions. And I actually think that Jameis Winston is going to have a good season. I really do. I think he's going to win the starting job and he's going to have a good season. And I think that people are going to struggle once again to value Jameis Winston in Dynasty because he's going to be a little bit of an enigma. And I think by this time next year, we'll be laughing about Taysom Hill as the idea that we thought he could be a starting quarterback.
I think some of this will be laughing for sure. Josh, might as well get both. Okay, yeah. I mean, might as well, right? I mean, they're so late. They're going so late.
They're not though. If they were going, no, they're not. They're not going that late. Like if they were going super late, I mean, I have the Superflex ADP in front of me.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now.
Yeah, I mean, Jameis Winston is 89.5, so that's mid eighth round. Taysom Hill 128.5. That's still in like the 11th round. There's still so many running backs and wide receivers I like there. It's too early. It's too early. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it.
He's such a value.
He's not. He's actually a massively overvalued. I have him about. Yeah, I have him a full round later. 140.
Yep.
It's not that far off, but he's a little bit early. If he were just a little bit later, I would be more interested in Taysom Hill. Jameis is also overvalued.
Great point, Kane. Hasn't thrown an interception in 2 years. Yeah. At least one. Yeah, so lots of reaction. Love this. Keep that interaction going. Love all of the interaction in the chat. We're gonna go back over to Twitter, and this is an interesting one to me, huh?
Oh no, let's go to Twitter.
Yeah, which rookie receiver are you drafting that you don't expect to break out this season, but you're stashing because you think they're going to be valuable in 2022?
I don't do that. I just don't draft them and then trade for them after they don't break out. But if I have to answer this question, the player that
people want to know, you have to answer.
So we're talking about a player that I like, but I don't think is going to do that much this season. Maybe Terrace Marshall. Marshall. I don't really like him. I don't think he's going to break out this season. But, you know, if he flashes a few good things and then they let Robbie Anderson walk and he becomes the number 2 behind DJ Moore for 2022, he could experience a rise in value while doing almost nothing. I guess that's what you want. Someone who doesn't have to actually do anything on the field and could still rise in value. So Terrace Marshall, I would include in that. And then
I have a good one.
Yeah, he's the big one. Terrace Marshall, I think, is actually the best answer to this question.
I think it's Nico Collins. Because he's going to have a great quarterback next year when the Texans draft 101.
So I have an issue with that though.
He looks like he could be a real. I love him. I'm starting to really like him
that though, because I think they're more likely to add more receivers on top, whereas the Panthers just spent a second round. Marshall was second rounder, so you don't spend when you spend a second round receiver pick on a player, you're expecting them to at least be your wide receiver 2 long term, and I think that's what they expect. But Nico Collins, they picked him in the 3rd. He could just end up, what if they just end up picking other receivers, sign guys in free agency? They'll have plenty of money next year. To get for their new rookie quarterback, they sign a couple of free agents. They're free agents. I mean, Juju's going to be a free agent. Michael Gallup's going to be a free agent. Like, they're going to be free agents available. And I don't think that Nico Collins' spot on the team is as secure. That's why I'm a little bit. Generally, this doesn't happen anymore. Like, most receivers flash it pretty significantly. Otherwise, they're just doomed. And that's kind of why I think that unless they have very high draft capital, that's why I'm still holding hope for Henry Ruggs, a little bit for Jalen Reagor, but I've given up on most of the other face planners.
So then maybe the right answer is Kadarius Toney.
But I kind of expect Kadarius Toney to have a better year than people think.
Good.
I'm very in on Kadarius.
Draft capital and a lot of competition for targets all of a sudden in New York.
From what? From where is the competition for targets?
Dude, Evan Ingram is amazing. I'm kidding. I can't even say it with a straight face.
Evan Ingram is horrible.
I know.
Remember that I'm a Giants fan. I've had to put up with 4 years of Evan Ingram. Darius Slayton is boring, and Sterling Shepard is also boring.
Josh is almost certainly answering the one about where Julio could go. Chiefs could be, that would get everybody excited.
I do think that the Chiefs or the Chargers would make people very excited. I really do.
Do It 420 says, who will be fantasy relevant first between Kellen Mond and Kyle Trask?
Neither will be fantasy relevant. I mentioned this many times. How often, and I think I talked about this on one of the recent divisional things that aired, how often do these not first round quarterbacks, how often do they get in the game because the team handed them the starting job? I challenge you to name one who didn't get their opportunity because of injury. One. Name one. 3rd round or later, name one. Trask was the last pick of the 2nd round, but most of the quarterbacks we're talking about are either early 2nd or 1st. So name one. Name one. I
can't think of any. If you're watching,
right?
Comment it down below.
Can't think of any.
I can't think of any.
How did Gardner Minshew get his chance? Injury. How did Dak Prescott get his chance? Injury. Name
Russell Wilson.
One. Well, Russell Wilson. I mean that's probably the last one. And that was 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And so that's why Russell Wilson is so amazing.
Yeah. I don't think either one of these guys are very good. I think that's the main thing.
Too. Kirk Cousins was injuries. If RG3 stays healthy, Kirk Cousins never gets a chance. And he came in when RG3 got injured, and he played well. And now, speaking of these two guys, I think that I'm not interested in either one, but I'd be more interested in Trask. Because I think Kirk Cousins has more years left than Tom Brady. I mean, I don't think that's that controversial. Kirk Cousins has 2 fully guaranteed years on his contract, whereas Brady has 1 fully guaranteed year and another year that's up in the air. And then Kirk Cousins is probably not done playing in the NFL after those 2 years.
No.
I don't think, right? I mean, he's only 33. I think Kirk Cousins was good last year. I think Kirk Cousins has 4 years left minimum. So, and I think Kellen Mond, they took him as a backup. Whereas Kyle Trask, they were more looking at a potential successor. Whereas I think is a backup.
Kane comes back and says Curtis Samuel and a 2022 second for Trey Lance.
I assume this is a what? I mean, a super flex is Trey Lance by a mile.
Sorry. 1 QB.
Then I'll take Samuel in the pick.
Yeah. In a 1 QB.
No QB is worth that much. Mahomes is the only one that's worth that much. I mean, that's fair market value for the next tier of QBs. Your Kylers, your Josh Allen, your Herbert. That's fair value. But for Trey Lance, no. I'll take Curtis Samuel in a second round pick pretty easily.
My expectations for Curtis Samuel are pretty low.
Mine too. I'm not really a fan of his.
It's because we've seen Ron Rivera ruin him before. Like, why would that change?
But just the way that 1 QB ranks work out, I have Curtis Samuel above Trey Lance in my 1 QB ranks. So
yeah, exactly.
It's just the way it works. Yeah. It just the way QBs are valued. This is why I don't like 1 quarterback leagues. But that's an easy decision to take the Samuel in the second rounder.
This must be Josh from Front Yard Fantasy, isn't it?
Yes.
Holy shot. I don't know what this was in reference to, but
yeah, I don't know what he's talking about.
But that is a great show, by the way. Watch Front Yard Fantasy. I
have been on that show.
Me too. Times. Yeah, I've been a guest on there as well. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Those guys are really great community.
They're killing it.
Every weekday at 3 Eastern, I think.
They do a show every day. Would people want to listen to me every day? What do you think? Do you think the people would want to listen to me every day at the same time? I don't know. I don't know if the people tell me in the chat, tell me in the comments if that's something that you want. We'll see if we could accommodate you.
Certainly you're going to get a chance to hear from them every week. And that is going to happen right here at on this Ask DLF. So, yeah.
There's so many more questions.
I know there's so many. Let's go to Evan. What's your thoughts on the 2022 running back class? Okay, so just a quick, I don't even know, how much you don't do a lot. You've
no, yeah. This question's being sent to the wrong person.
Okay, so Evan. Save this question. On Thursday, Jeff Bell, that's at for whom J Bell tolls, is coming on with me on an AMA, and we're going to talk about Devi because he studies that, loves that. He's really good at it. So, Evan, save this question and ask us on Thursday.
So that's the other thing. And I wish the Jeff Wilson news had happened, when you were doing your show yesterday with Jeff. He would have been a lot more helpful than me. I'll do my best on answering any of the questions that we get. Most of what I do is just regular dynasty. I know about the current rookie class a lot. I've done a lot of work on that. I do a lot of rookie articles in the current class. I don't look ahead to the next class. I'm too focused on the NFL. I produce an article every other day on the NFL. So I just don't have time for that. We have Devi analysts at DLF. No one, it's better, same reason with IDP. I don't really enjoy IDP. So I don't enjoy it. And there are other people who are really into it. So, why would I can't do everything. There are other people who excel in those areas that focus on them. So, we're going to have these other shows that Cal was talking about where we'll have, yesterday you had Jeff, who was an injury expert, asking me an injury question. I mean, I'll give you my best advice, but not nearly as good as what Jeff would provide you. And then, we might have Devi guys, or I'm sure you'll have an IDP show as well. Cause Devi, I can at least try. I know who Breece Hall is. Mm-hmm. I know who what's his name? Is it, what's the running back? Bijan Robinson. Yeah. Bijan Robinson. I know who that is. I know, there are quarterbacks in the class. I mean, there's Sam Howell or something like that, and Keaton Slovis. Yeah. I know who these people are, but Devi is not my area of expertise.
We do have Devi rankings at dynastyleaguefootball.com.
So make sure I am not a part.
Right. So me neither. So make sure to check those out and get this question in and get Jeff to react to it. Sure. That would be amazing. So
and also don't forget the premium forum. The premium forum, the Ask DLF team forum only people who in that forum, it's for premium subscribers. Like, I just wouldn't answer a question about IDP. We wait for someone who knows about IDP to actually answer it. So all the DLF analysts have access to that forum. So you just put your question in there and eventually someone will come and answer it. So that's an alternative. That's a very good place for specialty questions like IDP, Devi, contracts. We're probably not going to, even if I did know about that stuff, we probably wouldn't cover it here because this show is mostly supposed to be applying to everybody. So we're going to take as many of the, and that's my goal in answering the questions. I'm going to tend toward the like most popular ones, the questions that are the most likely that other people would have, because, you know, we're not just trying to help the person asking the question. We're trying to help everyone listening. So we want the questions we're answering to apply to everybody. So
let's talk strategy. You're at the 102. Like, this is Superflex. Patrick Mahomes is gone at the first pick. Where are you going? Superflex.
Well, I don't really like drafting from number 2. I would try to trade down. I would definitely try to trade down. If not, I'll take a quarterback because you have to. There's such a long wait until your next pick. But I would try to trade down a few spots and pick up some additional value.
Which one? Which quarterback?
For me, Kyler Murray is who I would pick.
I think I'm still going Josh Allen.
Those are the two.
But yeah. Okay, very good. Back to the live comments here.
There are a lot of them.
Yeah, there's so many. I appreciate you guys. Look, keep them coming. And look, Tyler will have to send me a message in the private chat to tell me he's done, and then we'll stop. But
Tyler will never be done. Tyler cannot be silenced. Once I told Cal this before the show, but we've given me this delightful platform to answer all of these questions, and I will take as much advantage of that as possible, and I will continue to answer your questions for as long as I remain upright.
I love this. There's like advice going on in the chat as well.
I love it.
I love it too. Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, so yeah, lots of Josh jumping in. We got Kane jumping in.
Yeah, the Falcons are not getting a 1 for Julio. That's ridiculous. They're gonna get a 2.
No way. Yeah.
A 2, I think.
It's that. Like, they might just move some picks around. Like, he's got a big contract. Like, they got to find somebody who's got to be able to take him on.
Julio's still really good. Let's
very good.
Forget that. Let's not forget that Julio is still good.
It's a big contract. They're gonna have to pay some of that money.
He's still good.
Yeah, supposedly that is their price. So here we go. Philip, back in. Is it worth the gamble to jump on Zach Wilson in the hope that the Jets offense could be slept on? Yes.
I don't think it's the Jets offense that's being slept on. I think it's Zach Wilson himself that's being slept on. I think that people don't like him. They just don't like him. For whatever reason, they don't like him. And they're pushing him down. I still have yet to really discover why. Yes. The answer to this question is yes.
Fun fact about...
Oh, I have a good question. Where do you think Zach Wilson ranks in overall Dynasty QB rankings?
In your Dynasty ranking?
Yeah, mine.
Okay. You don't like old people, so I'm assuming he's coming in over the most, if not all, of the 30-year-olds. So that's got to put him in the 17 range?
13.
Okay. All right. So higher on him than I would have thought even.
Yeah. I'm pretty in. I would rather have Zach Wilson than Tua. I've seen enough of Tua.
I love Tua.
I've seen enough of Tua. I saw a year of failure. I saw a year of failure.
No.
Let's set the record straight on Tua, by the way. Let's set the record straight on Tua. And because I've heard people talk about this. The Miami Dolphins actively chose to play the worst quarterback. They chose to play the worst quarterback last year. That's what they did. They gave themselves a lower chance of winning just to put Tua on the field. And I think they regret it, personally. I think they would have made the playoffs if they would have stuck with Fitzpatrick the whole year. Fitzpatrick was playing way better than Tua. It was not even a comparison. And I think that I just saw enough from Tua. I think he's boring. I think his ceiling is a high-end QB2. That's his ceiling. I have Tua ranked. I almost ranked Zach Wilson in redraft above Tua. I thought about it. But then I decided the Jets are pretty bad, and I couldn't do it. But in Dynasty, give me Zach Wilson. Give me Zach Wilson. Give me the upside. I want what I haven't seen, because what I saw from Tua was not good.
This is tough because I feel like I like both of them more than consensus. But like for me, Tua, they did surround him with some amazing weapons. Last year, he had Devontae Parker, the shell of Preston Williams for however long, Jakeem Grant, and Mike Gesicki. That's literally all he had. He was hurt. He still wasn't fully healthy. We expected it to be a red shirt year for him, and it wasn't. So he shouldn't have even seen the field to begin with.
Oh,
just
you're
like
right.
You
he
said.
should not have seen. He
Just
should
like
not have seen the field because he wasn't very good when he was on it.
And you know who else wasn't good? Chan Gailey, who built that offense for Ryan Fitzpatrick, which is who they had familiarity there. He trusted Ryan Fitzpatrick a lot more, and like you said, should have stuck with him last year. But Chan Gailey's gone. The offense is now built for Tua. I have hope for him. I have hope.
But the issue is you blame the weapons and coordinators, but the weapons and coordinators didn't make him look bad when he was throwing the ball. They didn't give him a weak arm, right?
No.
Coordinators make his arm. Did his hip injury make him incapable of throwing the ball downfield? I don't think so. I don't think it works that way.
Man, I don't know.
I'm pretty out on Tua. I just move. I'll take someone else.
Fun fact. Did you know Zach Wilson's uncle owns JetBlue?
What?
Yeah.
I don't buy it. Bullshit.
Yeah. He
really?
does, for real. Yes.
I just cursed on here, but we'll get over it. That's fine.
He also was a DoorDash waiter during the pandemic.
Wait. Zach Wilson was
yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I can't. I can't.
Those are true facts.
Do this. I live in New York, man. I live in New York. He's not gonna get on very well here, I don't think. He's not a good fit for the city.
A little bit of I don't know, determination, things like that. Here's a interesting question that is just strategic to me. If you're a contender, do you trade with other contenders?
Yes. What kind of question is this? You're telling me I should artificially limit my trade partners just because they also are contenders? That's a stupid question. Yes. You trade with people who make your team better. It doesn't matter worry about your team. Don't worry about theirs.
It's harder to trade with contenders because
I didn't say it was easier.
No, right. Yeah. So I'm agreeing with you in adding. So like, yes, what Tyler said. And it also is harder to trade with contenders because contenders, well, you have to kind of have different values of specific players, whereas
contenders are more willing to deal. Other rebuilders are often very much, I don't want to trade. They have a bunch of young guys. They're just like, I want to only trade my old guys. I don't want to trade any young guys, any draft picks. That's how I am when I rebuild. It's actually harder to trade with me. It's easier to trade with me if I'm a contender. I actually think it's easier to trade with contenders. If you have two contenders, one needs a running back, one needs a wide receiver, it's really easy to make a trade, actually. If a rebuilder is only going to care about value, it's much harder to trade with them. So yeah, I actually think as a contender, oftentimes the best avenue is to trade with other contenders. So yes is the answer to this question. And honestly, I don't think we need to give that question any more attention.
Which sophomore wide receivers that didn't excel in year one do you expect to break out in year two?
It's gimme. It's Jerry Jeudy. It's Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy is going to break out in year two. Jerry Jeudy was not as bad as people think. Jerry Jeudy had over 800 yards as a rookie. That's pretty good, right? I mean, how many receivers from the 2019 class had over 800 yards as a rookie? We're just spoiled by Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. Jerry Jeudy had over 50 receptions as a rookie. Yeah, he only caught 52 of 113 targets. No, I did not look those numbers up. I just know them.
What's his birthday?
Jerry Jeudy's birthday? Okay, so Jerry Jeudy is 19. His birthday's in 99. I believe it's going to make me look bad if I don't know it. I want to say, is he April 99? April 99.
I have no idea. I assume you would know. So whatever you say is probably what I'll.
It could be wrong. Go look it up. April 99. I'm going to say just for the glory, April 9th, 1999.
Okay, I'm going to look that up.
If I get it right, then I don't think it's right. I know he's 99. I'm not sure about his month. I think it's April.
Let's see. It is April. April 1999, but it's April 24th. So close.
Wow. But April 99, I'll take it. I got the month of the year is pretty good.
How many people can do that? That's a really cool party trick right there. Yep.
Yeah.
This came in from our buddy Britt. What is Javian Hawkins' trade value right now? Does he have trade value right now?
Without including picks, how can I possibly give a trade value without including picks? There's no other way to give one.
Like, is there somebody? Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Okay, here's my suggestion then. If that's what you want, ignore me. Go to the trade analyzer. Go plug in Javian Hawkins and see the suggested players in return. That's what I would do. But if you want an actual answer to this question, in one QB, he's like a mid-4th.
Very good. And now, so that finishes up our questions from Twitter. I'm so excited. It only took us an hour and a half, and we've been, jumping back and forth, obviously.
Not many.
But it was a good bit. We answered, I think, 13 or 14 of them, something like that. So, I
wish I were more confident on Jerry Jeudy's age. I felt a little bit unsure.
Kane talking about the Jets, who we were talking about earlier, going to turn into San Fran East. I think there's going to be a lot of similarities. I don't think it's going to be quite as like just copy Shanahan and pull it over. There's only one Kyle Shanahan, but it is, and he's got some LaFleur tendencies too. He is one of the LaFleur brothers. So I don't remember which prediction this was, but yes, you are going to get honest takes. They're not hot takes though, right? You're not giving.
Tyler doesn't do hot takes.
These are real things.
Yeah, I only do. Yeah, so any advice that I'm giving you is something I would do myself. So no, I'm not giving any hot takes. I really, I often actually, people always think that just because I'm like I have a little bit of a personality and I'm a little bit loud that I, say ridiculous things. But actually, most of the time I get criticized because I love consensus and I'm a consensus defender too much. So yeah, I just try to entertain you guys with a little bit of just saying things in an interesting way. But yeah, no, I've if anything, I'm like the anti-hot take person. I'd really try to give reasonable stuff.
Josh chimes back in. Tom Brady's going to play until he's 72. He at least probably.
He drinks from the fountain of youth. I mean, he made a deal with the devil. That's what he did. I don't know what he had to give up. I don't know what he sold, but whatever he sold, it was worth a lot.
I am. Let's talk about this though, because Antonio Brown officially signed there.
He did.
In 8 games, he had 45 catches.
Yes.
Can he get to 90 catches this year? Are we severely overlooking Antonio Brown?
No, I don't think we're severely overlooking him. I just think that I'm just not. I don't know. I don't buy it. I mean, I still have Godwin and Evans higher. So no.
Yeah, gosh, probably. But man, I don't know. I just think there's some possibility there that he just wrecks everything for the other dynasty assets and becomes like a producer for 2021. And because I don't know, man. That 8 game.
He's a good buy.
I didn't realize he had 45 catches. I saw it the other day. I was like,
you didn't know that?
What? No, I just don't remember him being as much of a thing.
I wonder if I know Antonio Brown's birthday.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I know he's 1988. That's God. Is it June or July?
Antonio Brown. I'm gonna go look it up.
All right. There's something is speaking to me about Antonio. For some reason, July 31st, 1988 is speaking to me. I don't know why, but we'll go with that.
The other day I tried so hard to trick Tyler and confirm that he's not actually watching, looking this up or anything like that. He's not looking this up. He's really good at this. Antonio Brown, July 1988, July 10th. Very close.
I'm not as good with the days, but I got the month and year again. So that's good. That's good. The people know that this is why I know whenever we're talking about, just for the record, whenever we're talking about players on podcasts, this is how I just have a good working knowledge when we're doing trades, who's young, who's old. A lot of players are older or younger than people think. Something that actually bothers me when I listen to other pods, they just claim that players are certain ages, and they're very wrong. Sometimes they're wrong by multiple years. Yeah. And I'm like, you gotta know this stuff. You gotta know how old players are. You don't need to know the month, but You can't be 3 years off on the year. Like that is very important.
I am okay. Let's ask a couple of more because I want to hear. If you're in the chat, tell us who you wanted to ask, just so you know this isn't like staged. Anybody in the chat, tell us somebody you want.
Also,
Tyler
if it's like a really deep player, I'm probably not gonna know. Like
okay,
if it's
like player,
you can try. You can try. You never know. Sometimes I know random stuff, but put a couple players in the chat you want me to do the age thing for.
Like yeah, rankable type player, like somebody
someone who's worth talking about.
Yeah. FF Bowler with some good
100% agree.
Yeah, Bijan
Even I know that.
101 in 2023 rookie
One
draft.
QB.
There we go.
In Superflex, it'll probably be a quarterback. That's very likely, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it'll probably be a quarterback in Superflex.
Yep. So make sure you tune in on Thursday because Jeff will be right here.
Oh yes, he is an expert. I might tune in. I might tune in. Well, actually, I can't because I'll be on Spencer and the fantasy newsroom. I'll be live actually.
Yes, I love this. There are a ton of things in here, but like a lot of this, like just having their own conversation. This is great. Like keep it up. This is nice. Love it.
I know. Yeah, I don't even think they're talking to us. It's like we don't even exist. But whatever.
Yeah. So, dude, I think this is great. Let's. We might have gotten all of the questions.
I don't think we did. I think there's a lot of questions in there that we just kind of they got buried in conversations. But
maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm already scrolling. There's a bunch of them, but yeah. I mean,
talk about it. I'll see if I can pull it up. If you see one in there that you think we should get to.
Here's one. I mean, this isn't for it wasn't added at us, but if Julio goes to Indy, good or bad for Pittman breakout, it's bad. Like,
yes.
Very bad.
It's definitely bad for that.
Yeah, Julio's still good. Someone in response to the second-year receiver that's going to break out, Judy's the answer, but can I give an honorable mention to Pittman? No, you may not. I don't like Pittman really at all.
Oh man, but see, like you just said, you're not going to ding people too much for injuries, and that was a big part of his story last year.
I'm not dinging him for an injury. I'm dinging him for Mr. Interception that he's playing with.
Oh.
Yes, he's playing with Mr. Interception as his quarterback. Mr. Interception is the quarterback there. But yeah, no, there was a whole conversation in the chat.
Yeah, in Indianapolis, to me, does make the most sense for Julio. Though they have the cap room to make the move, they have the owner that's like could go down and say like make this happen.
So they don't actually have the cap room. They don't actually have the cap room. Once you budget the extensions that they still have to do for it's Darius Leonard and one other player, they actually don't have the room. So they
only have to take 15 million.
Yeah, but they already don't have 15 million. They only have 13, and they still have 2 extensions on the table. So I don't think they have the room personally, and I think it would hurt their team to do it too much.
Interesting. Okay.
Here.
From FF Bowler, here's a question for you guys. Will Travis Etienne end up being the RB1 for the Jags this year, or will it be a full-blown RBBC with J-Rob? Answer this, and then I'm going to tell you what, because me and Jeff talked about this yesterday.
I would say that Etienne will be the RB1 this year, but it will be somewhat of a committee. Is that good enough of an answer?
That's great. I just laughed because Kane adds, it's almost like they're watching our podcast. That's true.
Why don't you start one? Why don't you start a podcast then? Why don't you start one? I mean, it
is yours. Like, hey, this is a show for the people, right?
No, like, okay, so people always say it's so hard to get behind the mic here, right? Like, oh, this is so difficult, right? It's like, aren't I nervous? Not nervous. This is really easy. It's not hard. So like, just do it. I mean, what's the worst case scenario? You suck. Like, I guarantee you the first podcast I ever did wasn't that long ago. It was like 6 months ago. I've been writing for a while, but I haven't been podcasting for that long. I guarantee you the first couple of podcasts I did, my guest spots, they were awful. But like, did that stop me from doing them? No. So like, go. If you're listening to this and you're on the fence, go start your own podcast. Go start your own podcast. Go like hit me up. I'll even be a guest on it or something. Like, I don't care how small your podcast is. The less listeners you have, the more likely I am to say yes to being a guest on your show, by the way. So
tag me and I will listen to it.
Yeah, and I'll listen to a show and give you some feedback on how it's going. So that's this is just something we're gonna do. It might even give you a shout out on this show. At the end of the day, we're here to support the community.
Absolutely.
So it's not just answering your questions. There's other ways in which we can do that.
So
but yeah, I think I can tell you where I have them ranked for the year for 2021 if you like.
Etienne and J Rob. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just pull that up. So I do use Fantasy Pros actually. So thank you to Fantasy Pros. I use them for my cheat sheets for redraft. So I appreciate them. They've provided I've been a customer of theirs for a long time. So they provide very good service there, and they have great analysts as well. I have Travis Etienne at 22 and James Robinson at 33. How does that sound to you?
So
PPR.
PPR. You can either, I would suggest, look, go click on and give us a view for the one yesterday for the AMA with Jeff Mueller. That'd be great.
Yeah, that was very I started watching it.
Yeah. And then go back and check out Jeff's Twitter account if you just want the clip where we talked about Travis Etienne, because he does not like a lot of what he saw out of Travis Etienne. He didn't miss a lot of games, but he was constantly going to the sidelines. This is the way he explained it, so don't attack me here. He was constantly going to the sidelines, getting checked out for his hamstrings, getting checked out for something. He said the way he runs, and Jeff, he's a physical therapist that understands body chemistry, the way people move, and all that. He didn't like. He doesn't think that the way he's built and the way he runs is going to be great long term in the NFL. This is what Jeff thought. He still has him as his RB4, so he's knocks him down a little bit in this class. But so because of that, you might actually want some of James Robinson.
Wait. RB4 in this class?
Mm-hmm.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, he doesn't like the way he runs. He doesn't like the way he there's a lot that he doesn't like. Go check out his thread. You
can check it out. But I should have been on the show with him because I would have had a meltdown. As I should. Our good friend, I was a good friend, but our DLF colleague, Mr. Ryan McDowell, was listening to his appearance on his show, Locked On Dynasty today, and he has Travis Etienne as his RB1. I don't agree with that. I have Najee Harris as my one, but I think that Travis Etienne as RB2 in this class is perfectly where he should be. And I have him very high in Dynasty. I've really risen on Travis Etienne over the last few weeks. I've really come around. He's been rising and rising in my Dynasty ranks, and he has made it all the way up to, it's a very good number that he's made it to. Sorry.
Where is he in your wide receiver rankings?
Well, he doesn't rank in the wide receiver. He's running back 15 in Dynasty.
Running back 15. Okay.
That's correct. And I like it. I like the ranking.
What is your most overrated player currently going in the first round of Dynasty startups?
Let's say one QB for this question. Because if it were Superflex, it's almost all quarterbacks, and I'm going to say a quarterback. There are probably a quarterback going in there that shouldn't be. I don't have the Superflex ADP in front of me, but Joe Burrow is a first round startup pick and just not for me. Even in Superflex, I don't want him in the first round.
I'm in.
So for Superflex, Joe Burrow would be my answer. For one QB, Devontae Adams is no longer a first round pick, so I can't say him anymore. The first round, I'm not going to lie to you. The 12 players picked in the first round are the 12 players I have in the first round.
So just so everybody knows, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Swift, Cam Akers, DK Metcalf, CeeDee Lamb, and then Tyreek Hill is the 12th ranked.
Yeah, ADP. And those are my top 12 in one QB. So I completely agree. For me, I would say Dalvin Cook is a little too high. Dalvin Cook at 4. You're telling me that I could have AJ Brown, a young stud wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, the same thing, even younger, over an aging, always injured, lots of injury prone Dalvin Cook, who's 25, about to turn 26. I mean, that's insane to me. Give me those young wide receivers. That's not close. So Dalvin Cook is way too high. And then, DeAndre Swift as well, a little bit high for me. I'd prefer to have Akers is behind him, but I'd prefer to have Akers.
DK Metcalf going 10 is, I did not realize he was going that high.
I actually have him higher.
I love DK Metcalf, but I just feel like there are running backs down there. I would rather, just in draft strategy,
I'm still in on DK Metcalf. I have not given up.
Yeah. It just depends on what your strategy is. But
Tyreek Hill at 12 is a little low, isn't he?
He's 27.
Yeah. I mean, again, though, it's the same conversation. You're telling me Tyreek Hill versus Dalvin Cook. Give me Tyreek every time.
Yeah.
I like Dalvin Cook to me is like a tier down. I'm just not very interested in Dalvin Cook.
I'm loving your podcast going on in the comment section right now. Kane, you guys are doing great. Here's a question from Josh. What's your least favorite Steelers wide receiver?
Not counting James Washington. It's Juju. I wrote a whole article about how I don't like Juju.
I love Deontay Johnson. So
I hate Juju. I don't really like Juju at all.
So I worry about Claypool's long term. Well, not long term, but his second half of the season, because Big Ben's arm, it seems to be going the way of Drew Brees's. Drew Brees's arm, like, he was fine for the first few weeks, and then it just didn't have the stamina. And that's what he reminded me of last year. And I thought that's why he's not pushing the ball down to Claypool.
I know.
Claypool.
Let me read. You want me to read you an excerpt from a coming article about Juju?
Of course.
The people are going to get a little bit of a preview here.
Here you go.
But it's time to look at Smith-Schuster for what he is. A secondary receiving option for an NFL team. He's not a number one receiver, and I don't believe he ever will be. That's my thoughts on Juju Smith-Schuster.
Tyler, before DLF, who did you use to write articles for?
Oh, I wrote for Dynasty Football Factory before DLF, but that's it. That's the answer.
No hate from Kane. He loves us. He loves us. Thank you, Kane. We love you too.
Thank you for listening.
We did, you know what? We did not get too much into OJ Howard last night, but Jeff did say he had an article that was going to be coming. I still kind of like OJ Howard as a stash because he's free. Nobody thinks about him at all.
Sure.
But yeah, if he gets an opportunity, he'll be good.
Does he have a magical ability to heal from an Achilles tear that I don't know about?
No, probably not.
So then, no.
But he's free. Like, where he's going is like, oh, it's so low.
How many players have returned from an Achilles tear?
Kane is right. He's killing it. Chat interaction here is freaking amazing. Yeah. Keep it going, guys. This is exactly
name one player other than Emmanuel Sanders who successfully returned from an Achilles tear.
Yeah, nobody. It's not going to happen. But look, we can dream, Tyler. We can dream.
That's a no on OJ Howard. Yeah, it's a no on OJ Howard though. For anyone listening.
Sermon ahead of Travis Etienne. Yes, Jeff has Trey Sermon ahead of Travis Etienne.
So this is going to be one of those moments where I tell you that is interesting that it's ranked that way, but don't do that. Don't do that.
Also,
don't do it,
Evan.
Okay, that's not why. That's not why. I trust him to have balanced takes, but no. So don't actually do that though. Don't do that because it's bad value. Just on value alone, it's a dynasty crime to do that. So that's the other thing. You can't. There's a point at which picks are so bad in terms of value that you cannot make them, even if that's what you believe. If you really believe it, you have to trade back and then take the value later. But you can't make picks that are that bad value, whether you believe it or not. You're killing yourself to do it that way.
Kane, we did talk about this one earlier, and Tyler says that
I said yes. I said yes.
I say no because he's a failure.
Injuries and failure are not exactly the same. And also, to be fair to Rashad Penny, he never should have been drafted in the first round in the first place. Like, if we expected him, like, okay, if he were drafted in the 4th round like Chase Edmonds, and we had no expectations for him at all. And by the way, Chase Edmonds has done nothing in his career, really nothing. Like, then we wouldn't be so mad at Rashad Penny. We're mad at him because we spent the 102 rookie pick on him and we got nothing out of it. That's why we're mad at him. But actually, if he were a 3rd rounder let's say Rashad Penny were like a 3rd rounder in the NFL, would you be that sad at his career? I mean, it hasn't been good, but it hasn't been for a 3rd, 4th round pick. I mean, it hasn't been the end of the world. That the only reason we hate him so much is because we wasted an early first on him.
So, Tyler, with that, I think that will conclude our very first episode of Ask DLF. This was a lot of fun. We are at almost 2 hours. The chat was amazing. Seriously, like, shout out to the chat. If you were not watching this on YouTube and taking part of the chat, like, you should absolutely plan on finding a way to make that happen next week. I am really pumped about like what we are doing here and the, what we've got.
Nobody gave us one more age name. Nobody gave me one more game to play. The chat didn't give me one.
I know we didn't get one. So okay, let's how about Rashad Penny?
Oh man. Rashad Penny. I know it's 1996. February 24th, 1996.
February 2nd, 1996. Okay. How are you so close? That's crazy.
That's a month right again.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty quick. I would not have had time to look that up. Age, Eckler. Okay. Eckler is March. I don't know the date, but March 95. I think.
Hang on, I'm looking.
Might be wrong. I mean, I could always be wrong. I know Eckler's 95. I think it's March, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't think that's how we spell Eckler. How do we spell Eckler, right? There he is. Okay.
I know it's 95, but sometimes I'm a little shaky on the months.
95, and then you said what?
March.
Close. It's May 17th, 1995.
Yeah, very not close. Perfect.
Very close. And yes,
it's important to get the years.
FF Bowler 300. We are going to do this more often. We're going to do it every week. Let's take one more. This one came in. We're going to take one more from 99. Dynasty question. Sure. How bad is this running back class? Is it worth drafting any at 108, 110, 203, 208? Thanks, guys. Great work.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth drafting someone. I mean, Trey Sermon could be in 1 QB at 108. Could be decent. I mean, Michael Carter, if he falls to the right value at 208, is probably not going to be a running back, though. That's probably going to be a wide receiver.
No, you might be looking at like Javian Hawkins if you're going to be going.
Yeah, you don't want to reach for a running back at 208.
Yeah. Well, if you are not already subscribed, make sure that you go look down below. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel. There's a lot of great content. Addison's been out a little bit, but we've had something dropping every single day from our previews. Those were so much fun to do. I'm so excited to see some of the reaction. It's been good. We looked at every situation on every single team, and it's being released by division. We still have 3 more to go. NFC South, NFC East, and NFC West. I'm excited about those 3 coming out over the next 3 days. You can go back and look at the whole AFC, and NFC North came out today. Those were a lot of fun to do. You'll enjoy those. They're short. This is like an hour, 50 minutes. That was like 15, 20, 25 minutes, something like that. So yeah, a lot more easily digested. Put it that way. So check those out. Make sure you have the notifications on, and Addison is coming back. He was out of town, and he's going to have amazing content for us, and he's still
will be back.
Yeah, no doubt. Then make sure you're subscribed to Dynasty League Football, because look, there is great information coming out. There's great articles. There's great tools. There's great things that you can use that site for to dominate your Dynasty leagues. Look, this is when you win your leagues, is now. Like, this is really important. Make sure you go and check that out. And yeah, Tyler, any last words before we head out?
No, I think it's great that everyone listened and tuned into our show. And this is going to be a regular thing. So every week, same time.
Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, follow Tyler, follow me, and we will see you guys. Follow your buddies in the chat that you just made. Everybody that was
yes, yeah, great idea.
Yeah.
You guys should all put your ats. Put your ats in your chat name.
Yes,
so people can find you on Twitter, and also so we know how to, when we read the questions, so we can read your at name.
Absolutely.
That might help.
Thank you, everybody, and we will talk to you at some point during the week if you tune in on Thursday. If not, we will see you again next Tuesday for this Ask DLF. Thanks for making our first show great.